I got the email the same day I was celebrating my promotion. Funny how life works like that. One subject line: we need to talk. Simple, short, and just enough to send a jolt through my chest. I had already started writing the victory speech in my head when I opened the email. I thought it was going to be a thank you note, a pat on the back for everything I'd done. What I got instead was a dagger to the gut. We've decided to go in a different direction. Effective immediately, your position is terminated. The words flashed on my screen like an explosion in my mind. Termination. Just like that. After 5 years of sleepless nights, hours of meetings, brainstorming sessions, and late nights at the office, it ended in a cold, impersonal email. No face-to-face, no discussion. Just a PDF attachment with my severance details. My name is Jordan, 32 years old, and until a few hours ago, I was a senior creative at one of the hottest agencies in town. They said my creativity had run dry. They said my work wasn't up to par, that my ideas were stale. But what they didn't know was that I had seen the writing on the wall long before that email hit my inbox. I had already made preparations for a day like this. It was just a matter of time. I sat back in my chair, my hands cold against my phone. I stared at the email, reading it over and over. Each time it sank in deeper. Your position is terminated. The sting didn't hit right away. I wasn't angry, not at first. I was calm. Something inside me clicked. I didn't feel panic. I didn't feel sadness or frustration or even disbelief. I simply felt prepared. Not a problem. I typed back, hitting send without another thought. It was cold, calculated. The perfect response. No begging, no fighting back, just a finality that said it all. I was done, but I wasn't defeated. The fight had only just begun. I tossed my phone on the couch and walked to the window, looking out over the city skyline. My heart was steady. I wasn't going to waste a single minute wallowing in self-pity. They wanted creativity? Fine. They thought I had lost it? Fine. But what they didn't know was that I had spent years quietly preparing for this very moment. The plan begins. 6 months before the termination, I started to notice things. Small things, really. Subtle shifts in how the agency operated, how the clients responded to our work, how the new team members seemed to be outpacing me in terms of ideas. I could feel the change, creeping in like a shadow. At first, it was just little stuff. They stopped giving me the high-profile projects. They put me on the safe accounts. The ones that had no room for risk, no room for creativity. It stung, but I swallowed it, kept my head down. I told myself it was just a phase. But deep down, I knew what was happening. The final blow came in the form of an idea meeting. We were pitching a major campaign for a tech company, and I had the perfect concept. It was bold, daring, and, above all, creative. It was exactly what the brand needed. But when I presented it to the team, their response wasn't what I expected. They picked it apart, piece by piece, until nothing was left. I watched as the fresh ideas of my colleagues were praised, their watered-down versions of my concept now leading the pitch. That's when I realized they didn't value me anymore. I wasn't the creative genius they once thought I was. I was just a cog in the machine. But I wasn't going to let that destroy me. No, instead, I did what I do best. I adapted. I started making quiet moves, nothing dramatic at first. I secured my financial future. I knew that no matter what happened, I wasn't going to be left vulnerable. I moved my savings into a separate account, one that no one knew about. I started investing in personal development, not waiting for the agency to make me better, but taking control of my own growth. And, most importantly, I started building a network outside the agency. I reached out to former colleagues, friends in high places, and clients I had worked with in the past. Slowly but surely, I began laying the groundwork for something bigger. It was a slow burn, but I was always 2 steps ahead. I wasn't just waiting for them to fire me, I was preparing for it. The day I got the termination email, I didn't yell. I didn't throw a fit. I didn't even call my boss or HR. I simply packed my things, shut down my computer, and left. I didn't go home. I didn't sit on the couch, drowning in self-pity. No, I took a walk to clear my head. My mind was already racing. I had a few key moves to make, and I needed to act fast. The first was obvious. I had to start my own agency. It wasn't just a way to fight back. It was a way I was going to rise from the ashes they tried to leave me in. But I wasn't just going to start any agency. No, this was going to be different. It was going to be personal. I was going to show them what true creativity looked like. I was going to make them regret pushing me aside. The next few weeks were a blur. I spent my time making calls, reaching out to the best creative minds I knew, and assembling a team that would be unstoppable. The key to success was to keep moving forward, and that's exactly what I did. Months later, I was sitting at my desk in my brand new office. The walls were bare, the furniture simple, but everything had a purpose. This wasn't just a workspace, it was my battlefield. Every decision I made was strategic. Every move I made, every campaign I launched, was a direct jab at the agency that had thrown me out. I took on clients they would have killed for, brands that trusted me because they knew I could deliver. And deliver I did. Campaign after campaign, I outdid myself. The ideas flowed. The creativity was back, and it was stronger than ever. But the real beauty of it, the agency that had fired me, their brand was crumbling. They couldn't keep up. The clients were walking away, one by one, while I was flourishing. I could feel it, the satisfaction bubbling inside me. But I kept it cool. I wasn't in this for petty revenge. I was in this for domination. I had become a boss. But not just any boss. I was a kind of boss who made sure every move I made was calculated. I wasn't just running an agency. I was destroying their brand, piece by piece, with every campaign I launched. And they didn't even know it. It wasn't until I got the call that I knew things were really falling into place. It was a former colleague, someone I had once worked with closely at the agency. They were calling to tell me that the clients were leaving. The ones who had once sworn by the agency's name, the ones they'd worked with for years, were now coming to me. They had all reached out, one by one, seeking something the agency could no longer provide, real creativity. The agency didn't know what hit them. They were scrambling, trying to win back clients, but it was too late. The damage had been done. And the best part? I wasn't gloating about it. I wasn't doing anything that screamed, "I told you so." I was simply sitting back, watching them implode, knowing that everything I had built was sustainable. I was no longer the underdog, no longer the guy they toss aside. I was now the one calling the shots. And it felt good. As the months passed, I found myself looking back at it all. There was no joy in watching them fail. There was no satisfaction in seeing their brand crumble. It wasn't about that. It was about proving to myself that I had what it took to bounce back from anything. It was about showing the world that no one could take my creativity away. And now I was the one on top, running my own agency, working with clients who truly valued what I brought to the table. My reputation had been rebuilt, stronger than ever. And I wasn't just in the game, I was dominating it. They had fired me for lack of creativity. But what they didn't understand was that creativity isn't something you can take away. It's something that, once ignited, will burn brighter than anything you try to put out. And now, I was the boss.